When I was young, just like any other guy, I dreamt of making more money than I could ever spend. I dreamt of buying fancy cars and luxurious properties in the Alps. I dreamt of becoming so successful at whatever I choose to do that I'll be known for it all around the world. However, I had no clue how to turn these dreams into reality. I had no clue because I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. All that surrounded me was a mountain of debt that my parents were in, a long list of failed businesses that my relatives had tried their hands on from time to time, and no one around me that had come remotely close to the level of success I was dreaming of. So all these dreams were just fantasies that I knew I had no shot in hell of making a reality. Then came a cold night in February that I still remember like it was yesterday. That was the night I read the chapter on sexual transmutation in Think and Grow Rich. And that was the night that everything changed for me. Here I was reading about how people that already had what I was dreaming of were using their sexual energy as fuel to power the vehicle that took them to those dreams. I resonated so much with this particular chapter in the book because at that time I was a chronic PMO addict. I knew I wasn't using this fuel to power any of my dreams. I knew I was draining it into the tissue like a mindless zombie. I knew that for the first time in my bang average life, I'd found something I could leverage that could turn me into an extraordinary man. If I could harness and transmute this energy, I would develop an electric and highly charged personality that would attract the right people into my life. I would be filled with energy that the average man could only dream of. I would become insanely creative, and I would create something of value to the world. If I could just harness this energy and transmute it, the money, the cars, and the big house would all be mine. To begin transmuting my sexual energy, I knew I had to get my PMO addiction under control. So I started practicing semen retention and NoFap on and off for more than 5 years. But where I ran into a problem was that in the book, Napoleon Hill didn't exactly give practical steps one could take in his daily life to transmute the stored sexual energy. So during these 5 years, I was harnessing my sexual energy with semen retention and NoFap, but I wasn't transmuting it in its truest sense. As a result, I wasn't seeing that much change in my energy levels or my creativity, and I wasn't developing the personality of a winner. So my life remained the mediocre one I'd always known. But I didn't give up. I was still learning, experimenting, and trying different things that could help me transmute my stored sexual energy. And then I read a book called The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida. It was this book, together with what I've learned over the years, that put everything into perspective for me. Since then, I've developed 3 daily habits that have been helping me transmute my sexual energy almost on autopilot without having to think so much about it. And so far so good. Since I've been practicing these 3 daily habits, I have been more energetic, more productive, more creative, and most importantly, my fortune has greatly improved. I'm about to go over those 3 daily habits, and I'm sure some of them will surprise you and force you to start looking at them differently. Habit number 1: breath work. Breathing is the most important thing in life. After all, to stop doing it is to cease to exist. In the same breath, breathing is the most overlooked part of most people's lives. Maybe because it's an involuntary action that we don't have to think about to do it. But what you have to know is that breathing isn't only about your ability to exist. It's also integral to your well-being. If you're breathing properly, if your breath is deep and you're using the proper muscles, and as a result, you're getting a lot of oxygen into your bloodstream, you'll improve your physical health, your mental health, you'll fall sick less often, you'll be filled with energy, and you'll live longer. As important as breathing is to well-being, the sad reality is that most people don't breathe properly. As a matter of fact, according to experts, 80% of the entire world population takes shallow breaths. They breathe in through their mouth and they use their chest to breathe. And I'm guessing you're one of the 80% that the experts are talking about. For now, that's enough about the benefits of breathing properly. I know the burning question you have now is, how does breathing relate to sexual transmutation? Well, breathing is everything to sexual transmutation. As a man, your sexual energy is stored in your root chakra, which is a fancy name for your balls. That's why when you see something arousing, your balls get bigger, and you get the urge to expend this energy. And you've probably been expending this energy by PMOing or through sexual expression. But to transmute this energy is to move it out of your balls and upward to your head and to the other parts of your body. And the only way you could move this energy upward is through your breath. I didn't know this in those 5 years I was practicing semen retention and NoFap. And this was why I wasn't seeing any benefits of transmutation. And this was also why I would always relapse after 5 days of building up this energy. I wasn't moving the energy up, and the urge to expend it one way or another would get overwhelming. I've already discussed the benefits of deep breathing, but there's a special breathing technique I learned in The Way of the Superior Man that specifically helps to bring sexual energy up. I call this breathing technique balls breathing. How you do balls breathing is you breathe in deeply through your nose and fill your stomach with air while clenching your pelvic floor muscle. While you're breathing in, your chest shouldn't be moving up, only your stomach should. When you feel like you can't breathe in anymore, release the pelvic clench and let the air out slowly through your mouth. Feel the shift and the wave of calmness that will instantly wash over you. You can repeat this breathing as many times as you like, or till you start feeling a tingling sensation in your head. I intentionally make balls breathing a daily habit. And not only is it a daily habit of mine, but I also do it whenever I'm transitioning from one activity to another during my day. When I'm about to have a conversation with someone, when I'm about to make a call, when I'm about to work, when I'm about to work out, when I'm about to eat, when I'm about to sleep, I do balls breathing. Immediately after the breath, I notice a calmness wash over me. My eyes see more color. I'm instantly more energetic. I instantly have a clearer mind, and I'm able to extremely focus on whatever it is I'm doing at that moment. Habit number 2, consistent exercising. I know you've seen somewhere that regular exercise is good for you. For any masculine man, what encapsulates the masculine frame are strength, power, and physical masculine features. As a masculine man, when you're physically in good shape is when you're at your strongest. It's when you're most energetic, and it's when you can most mentally endure pain and boredom. And the quickest way to build up strength, power, and endurance is through a consistent workout regimen. What you've probably not heard before is how regularly exercising can help you transmute your sexual energy. Remember, I said that breathing is the only way you can bring up your sexual energy? Well, if you go through a rigorous exercising regimen, you expend energy and you're forced to breathe in deeply and breathe out deeply. With rigorous exercising, you don't need to learn any breathing techniques to transmute your sexual energy. It happens subconsciously and automatically. This energy is automatically translated into more reps in the gym and lesser rest time in between those reps. And this, in turn, helps you get in shape quicker and build up strength and power. The best form of exercise for the purpose of transmutation is resistance training, weight training, or high-intensity bouts of exercise. Habit number 3, intermittent fasting. You should have noticed that the time you eat and the quantity of food you eat are closely linked to your energy levels. This is because your body dedicates a lot of energy resources to digesting the food you eat. Also, it's been found by researchers that the time we eat affects your body's circadian rhythm. So you might have noticed that after eating a big meal or a certain type of food, you feel extremely tired. If you've noticed this sort of thing, then you should seriously consider fasting as a daily habit. You might be wondering what fasting has to do with sexual transmutation. Well, when you practice a form of intermittent fasting, what you're doing is giving your body a break in that fasting window. In your fasting window, you won't be bloated and your body won't be dedicating all its energy resources to digesting food. So there's a clear pathway in your stomach for you to use your breath to bring up your sexual energy. I've noticed that when I do balls breathing in my fasting window, it's much more powerful than in my feeding window. I'm much more energetic, I'm much more creative, and I'm much more productive during this time. When it comes to an intermittent fasting regimen, there's no one-size-fits-all. You have to experiment and get the right program for yourself. I've been researching and experimenting with different intermittent fasting programs for the past 4 years, and I finally settled on the 1 meal a day program where I drink only coffee in the morning and eat a large meal in the evening. There's a video up here where I break down the several scientifically proven benefits of fasting, the several intermittent fasting programs, the best practices to get optimum results, and a guide to help you choose the best one for you. If you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. If you found this video helpful at all, please destroy that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss it when I drop videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.